All right, today we're diving into something seriously cool, a tool that literally gives your applications the power of sight. It's called Amazon Rekognition. We're going to see how you can plug in some incredibly advanced computer vision, and the best part, you don't need a PhD in machine learning to do it. Let's get into it. I mean, really think about that for a second. We're creating billions of images and videos every single day. But what if your apps could do more than just store all that visual data? What if they could actually understand it? See the world and tell you what's going on. That's the huge challenge we're talking about. Because let's be honest, making sense of visual data is incredibly difficult. If you want to train a custom computer vision model from scratch, you need some deep learning expertise, you need massive data sets, and you need a ton of expensive computing power. For most developers, for most of us, that's a huge barrier to entry. And that is exactly where Amazon Rekognition comes into the picture. It's basically designed to solve this exact problem. Think of it as Amazon's pre-trained, super powerful set of AI eyes that you can just plug right into your own projects. So what is it, really? Well, put simply, Amazon Rekognition is a fully managed service that lets you add really sophisticated image and video analysis to your apps, and you do it with simple API calls. It's built on the exact same deep learning tech that Amazon itself uses to analyze billions of items every single day. And this right here, this is the absolute game changer. This is straight from the documentation, without any prior machine learning or deep learning knowledge. This means you don't have to build the models, you don't have to train them, you get to stand on the shoulders of giants and leverage all of Amazon's expertise, so you can focus on building your app, not the underlying AI.
Okay, so what can it actually do? Let's take a quick spin through some of its most powerful features, because the range of what this thing can see is pretty amazing.
So at its core, you've got object and scene detection. You give it an image, and it'll spit back a list of labels. But it goes way deeper than just seeing a lighthouse or rocks. It actually understands the bigger picture. It can identify abstract concepts like nature or landscape. That's where you start to see the real power beyond just simple object tagging.
And it goes way beyond that. For instance, it can read text right out of images. It can recognize tens of thousands of celebrities. It can even do really specialized things, like spotting personal protective equipment, which is absolutely crucial for workplace safety. And yeah, it can search for faces, compare them, and even track how people are moving around in a video. This technology has some serious real-world applications. I mean, take identity verification. The face liveness feature can actually tell if a user is physically right there in front of the camera, helping to catch spoofs from things like printed photos, digital videos, or even 3D masks. This is a huge deal for stopping fraud in online services.
Okay, so the features are impressive, no doubt. But how do you actually, use it? How does this thing actually fit into a real application? Let's walk through a super common setup. Now, don't worry about memorizing all the details on this diagram. The key takeaway here is that Rekognition doesn't work in a vacuum. It integrates beautifully with other AWS services. You can see how an action on the left kicks off this whole automated pipeline, with Rekognition acting as the AI brain right in the middle of it all. So let's break that down. A really popular use case is automated image tagging. So a user uploads a photo to an S3 bucket. That upload event automatically kicks off a Lambda function. That little piece of code then makes a simple API call over to Rekognition, handing it the image. Rekognition does its magic and sends back all the analysis data. It's a beautiful, event-driven pipeline. Now here's a key technical detail you really need to know. When you're analyzing images, the API call is synchronous. That means you ask for an analysis and you get the answer back immediately. But videos are different, right? They take time to process. So video analysis is asynchronous. You start a job, it runs in the background, and Rekognition just sends you a notification when it's all done.
Of course, the big question for any developer is, what's this all going to cost me? So let's talk about the pricing, because it's designed to be just as accessible as the technology itself.
The philosophy is really simple. You only pay for what you use. That's it. There are no minimum fees, no long-term contracts, no upfront commitments. If you analyze one image, you pay for one image. If you don't analyze anything, you don't pay anything. This is absolutely perfect for just trying things out, or for apps that have really variable traffic. And as you'd hope, as your app grows and you use it more, the cost per image actually goes down. You can see in this tiered pricing table, your first million images cost 1/10 of a cent each. But as your volume grows, that price drops a lot.
If you're analyzing over 35 million images a month, you're paying 60% less per image than when you started.
So what about those other services in our workflow, like S3 for storage and Lambda for the code? Well, the great news is that for most common setups, these supporting services add very, very little to the total bill. We're talking usually only about 12% on top of your Rekognition charges. The API cost is really the bulk of what you'll pay.
And to make it even easier to jump in, the AWS Free Tier is awesome. For your first year, you can analyze up to 1,000 images every single month, completely free. This gives you tons of runway to build, test, and just play around without spending a single dime.
So let's just sum it all up. What we've seen is that Amazon Rekognition is super easy to integrate with just a few API calls. It requires zero machine learning expertise. It's built to scale to millions or even billions of images, and it's incredibly cost-effective with that pay-as-you-go model and the fantastic free tier.
And that really brings us to the final and most important question. Look, this isn't just about cool tech for the sake of cool tech. It's about what you can actually build with it. When you take away all the complexity of computer vision and make it a simple tool for every developer, well, the possibilities are just endless. So, what problems are you going to solve?